Hello and welcome to the Art and Business and Murals podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Scully, and today we are talking about jealousy. Yuck, what a horrible feeling. Now, as per usual, I have notes for this show so that I can get my thoughts in working together. But as per usual, I'll probably go off script on side quests all the way through this episode. Lucky you. But we're talking about jealousy. Because it's something that every single artist feels. Even the most successful artists, I guarantee, feel jealous. So, have you ever felt jealous of another artist on social media? Have you seen someone else's success and felt that really sinking feeling in your stomach? Maybe you felt threatened or discouraged or even embarrassed about how you felt. I want to talk about this today because I have been feeling this a little bit lately. And I think it's something that most artists experience, but don't talk about openly because it's a little bit shameful. Like I feel a little bit shameful about it. So the last couple of weeks, there's been two instances where I felt like pangs of jealousy, and it's not a common occurrence for me. So I was kind of questioning why I felt jealous. And this is basically what this episode is going to be about. It's going to be about analyzing that jealousy. Why are you feeling jealous? And using it as an opportunity to grow and learn and build your business from it. Because jealousy doesn't have to be a negative feeling. It doesn't feel great in the body, but if you can turn it into data and learn more about yourself and what you want, I think it can be really helpful. So last week, I took my son out of school for the day and we drove to Brisbane and we did the CJ Hendry um, Juju hunt, which is every year she runs a hunt um, that's called copyright infringement. If you've not heard of it before, look up CJ Hendry and check out the hunts that she does. They're super fun. So took him out of school, drove down. They did the juju hunt. We were running around Brisbane like absolute lunatics. It was chaos. Like we saw two car accidents. I don't think that they were from the hunt, but they were smack bang in the middle of hunts. And we got out at like Kangaroo Point in Brisbane and like saw some teenagers screaming and sprinting. And I was like, what the hell? And they were like racing down the stairs at Kangaroo Point. If anyone knows those stairs, it's insane. And they were doing the hunt too. And I was like, oh my God. And I was screamed at my son, go. So they dropped some jujus at Kangaroo Point, but it was down the bottom and we were at the top. And as that happened, then I had all these people coming up to me, other women, and they're like, oh, where do you think they're going to go next? And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, this isn't just a hunt of like a few hundred people looking for these jujus. This is half of Brisbane that have taken the days off work to try and find this. Like I was so naive as to how big it was. And, there were times when they'd post up where they'd drop some jujus and like my son and I were in the car and we were literally 2 minutes away and would drive and it was already gone. So it was bizarre. Like it was very chaotic. I would not say it was an enjoyable time. It was quite anxiety inducing. There was a lot of my son and I screaming at each other in the car. But it was an experience. So anyway, we did that. And at the end of the day, the posts from CJ on her Instagram kept coming up on my feed because obviously we'd spent the whole day stalking her on Instagram. And I really started to feel jealous. And I'd never felt jealous of her before. I've been following her for like 10 years now and spoken to her on social media, and there's never been jealousy. And I was like, oh, that's really bizarre. And then I was on Instagram again, stupid social media, and I saw a really good friend of mine, probably one of my closest friends who's a mural artist, and he had done a job at a school and worked with the year 12 students on it. And it was a massive mural job in the school, bigger than what I would ever want to do. And it was beautiful, really beautiful. And I started to feel really jealous. And I was like, why am I feeling jealous? This is my friend. He's gotten this great big job. He's brought in other artists to help, which I always love seeing because it's sharing the love. And it's working with students, which I really support. And I felt jealous, which normally I'd be like, oh yeah, good job. But this day I was like, oh, which like really shook me a little bit. I was like, this is not normal for me. So I'll talk about these two scenarios throughout the episode, by analyzing how I was feeling and why I was feeling that way. Don't get me wrong, just because you analyze it doesn't mean that it goes away either. You got to work through it a little bit. Um, so generally when jealousy shows up, it's usually pointing to something that you want. So someone in front of you has something that you want, or something that you value, or something that you're afraid of losing. So jealousy often comes from comparison culture on social media. This is like social media has made it so difficult. There's often a feeling of scarcity instead of abundance. There's fear of missing opportunities, fear of being replaced and forgotten, and a lack of clarity in your own path. Jealousy is often a signal, not necessarily a flaw. Tells you what matters to you, what you want to work towards, and where you might feel a little bit insecure. So let's talk about some tools to work through jealousy when you feel it. Do you notice how I said when you feel it rather than if you feel it? Because I know all of us will go through this at some point. If you are on social media, you'll see, even if you're not on social media, there is art everywhere. Chances are you might go to a gallery and get jealous of an artist's work there or something. So all of us are going to feel it at some point, and it's a great opportunity to get some data. So the first thing, name your feeling without feeling shame. So if you do look at someone and you get that really gritty, gross feeling inside, then acknowledge that this is jealousy, that you feel jealous, and don't feel shameful about it. You can feel whatever feelings you want to feel, but you also want to acknowledge that that feeling is telling you something. Don't suppress the emotion because that just makes it 100 times worse. We have learned that you need to feel the feelings and don't just push it down. Trust me, coming from an 80s baby, I know about this. Number two, let's turn this jealousy into data. So, what exactly are you jealous of? Is it their success? Is it their visibility? Is it their confidence? Is it their consistency? Often it's not about the person, it's about something that we want for ourselves. So, this is a powerful question. What does this jealousy show me that I want to build in my own business? So, if I go back to this CJ Hendry jealousy that I was feeling this week or last week, I don't want CJ Hendry's fame. I don't want almost 1 million followers on my Instagram. She gets so much negative comments. My sensitive petal thin skin would not handle that at all. I do not want that. I do not want to be that level of famous. I do not want to do the art that she is doing. I did feel some pretty serious pangs of disappointment when we did not find any jujus because I just want one juju for myself and maybe one juju for my son. And that's it. And if you're sitting there going, what the fuck is a juju? Google it. CJ Hendry Juju. They are adorable. Anyway, there was disappointment there, but not jealousy around the jujus. So disappointment, that could be a whole other episode in itself. We're not going to talk about disappointment today, um, but the jealousy, I was like, well, why are you jealous? You don't want her fame. You don't want to do the work that she's doing. She does like big events and installations and space making type things. And she's really well known for her pencil drawings that look very lifelike, like very like photographs almost. They're amazing. It's insane talent. But I do not want to do any of that work. There have been no projects that she has done that I've gone, oh, I wanted to do that. No, not for a second. We're like completely in our own swimming lanes. And I thought, what am I jealous of? She does live in New York. There is a small part of me that like secretly wants to live in New York, but like in reality, logistically, I'm in the place that's right for me. I don't think I would survive more than 3 months in New York, honestly. It's too busy. It's too loud. So it's not that. I don't necessarily want to live in New York either. Don't want the fame, don't want the work. And I was thinking about it more and more and more. And I thought, you know what I'm jealous of is that She was in New York. Her sister here, Pam, was essentially dropping all the jujus around town. I knew they had a second car too because they were doing it on the south side and north side at the same time. And that would be insane. I actually think they had more than two cars because they were just all over the place. What I'm jealous of is the help. Like she has such loyal and helpful help. And I find it really hard to find people like that in my own business. So the number of times I've brought on part-time employees or um, marketing managers or assistants, and they just haven't lived up to my expectations, and I felt very let down. And I'm really jealous that her sister is such a wonderful supporter of her business and so involved in it. That's the part that I was jealous of. I want my own Pam, but I don't have a sister. And my brother has his own job and has already vehemently said he does not want to help me. So that is what I was jealous of. Now, if we look at the other example, my friend who did the mural in the school, same thing. I would not want to do a mural of that size that he did. It was massive. It would have been a week or two's worth of work. And I don't do well with big, long projects. I feel very overwhelmed and I get very exhausted very quickly. My max is like 4 days on a project, and then I need like a week off. Um, so it wasn't that. It wasn't the actual project that I was jealous of. There was a small part of me that, because he'd gone into schools and worked with the students and produced a mural, which is very similar to the work that I do. This is very much my bread and butter work. There is a little part of me that gets a bit nervous that um, that I will become obsolete, that everyone else will start doing that, and they will potentially do it better than I do, and then I'm gone. So there is a small part of me that does that. But then I looked at the work that he had produced and it was stunning, absolutely beautiful. His work is really conceptually evolved, really detailed, beautiful colors. Um, I could tell that he'd really spent a lot of time and energy and effort on that concept development. And there was a part of me that was jealous of that, of the outcome that he had produced. It was just stunning. Every work he does is absolutely beautiful. And so my jealousy lay in the space where I felt like my work wasn't as conceptually evolved as his. My outcomes weren't as stunning as his. And so this tells me that I need more time and more space to develop some really deep and thoughtful concepts to produce really stunning outcomes. And I haven't been giving myself that space and time to do that. So that's a big part of where that jealousy came from. And the other part where it came from was a lack of abundance right now. So the last couple of weeks, my emails have been very quiet. Um, Generally, my emails tend to run on the school schedule. So if schools are up and running and busy, I get lots of emails through because I'm got workshops and a lot of my mural projects are run through schools and everything just seems to be moving. And I work with a lot of people who have small kids. So when the kids are at school, they actually have time and space to think and actually get stuff happening. But on the school holidays, it's absolute mayhem. So everything kind of shuts down. So email's been very quiet over the last few weeks, which means work has been very quiet over the last few weeks. I only have for this next term coming up, so the next 10 weeks, I've only got one mural booked and two workshops booked, which is really quiet. Um, so there's a feeling that I'm lacking in abundance at the moment. Um, but in saying that, like I've had the last week off and I've still sold multiple prints online. I've sold digital projects online. So it's not like everything is stopped and it's quiet. So I think for me, being on holidays is tough because I don't feel like I'm moving forward in my business. And so for me, the abundance kind of feels quieter. But at the end of the day, I need this downtime and I need people to leave me alone and I need my email to be quiet so that I don't feel like I'm missing out. I don't feel like I'm letting people down. So I need this space. And I have like commissions here in the studio I need to get done. And I have personal projects that I'm working on that that I really want to get done. So this space is actually a godsend. but it still leaves me feeling like there's a lack of abundance, which then therefore leads to this feeling of jealousy, which sucks. Um, so turning that jealousy into data. So those are the things that I realized once I analyzed the jealousy, I figured out I wanted more of. Number three, let's reduce comparison triggers. Oh, this is a big one. Social media amplifies everything. So let's look at some practical actions here. Mute accounts that trigger negative feelings. Oh my goodness, I am the queen of doing this. If someone's work starts to look too similar to mine, I mute them. Like, I don't want to see people not copying, but I don't want to see people's work getting more and more similar to mine because it makes me feel like I will become obsolete. Um, if someone is doing really similar work to me, say in the coaching space, then I will mute their account. It's not that I'm not proud of what they're doing because I think more artists should have coaches and mentors. It's not that I don't support what they're doing. It's just that I need to keep in my own lane. I don't want to get distracted by packages that they're running or promotions that they're running or things that they're doing. I want to stay in my own lane and stay true to myself and listen to what the artists in my group are telling me. So mute accounts that trigger negative feelings. Limit scrolling time. So you can set up on your phone a time limit per day for social media. So for me on Facebook, it's 15 minutes and then Facebook just shuts down. Um, Curate your feed intentionally. This is another thing that I am amazing at. Not so much on Instagram. Instagram still pops up a lot of artist stuff, which is fine. It's good that I see the EOIs popping up, and I love seeing other artists' work as well sometimes. A lot of the time, it doesn't trigger me. I'm like, that is beautiful work, and I find it quite inspiring. Um, but on Facebook, when I scroll my Facebook now, I have managed to curate my feed so that it is full of gardening spam, so all gardening questions, flower questions, and funny cat videos. And that's pretty much my Facebook. So follow people who educate and inspire rather than trigger insecurity. So again, you can still celebrate other artists, but just if you're feeling those pangs of jealousy for some reason, work out what that is. And then it's okay to not follow them. That's okay. You don't have to follow everyone. You're not going to miss out. This is not avoidance. It is very much boundary setting. So number four, let's focus on your own lane. My son, who is 11, has this tendency, and I don't know if this is all kids or just my son, but has this tendency to not be able to stay in his own lane. And I'll pick him up from school and I'll be like, how's your day? And he's like, yeah, it was good. But these kids were doing this and they were doing that and it was really naughty. And so I went and told the teacher. And I was like, and he's like, and now they don't like me. I was like, oh, okay, okay. But you really had nothing to do with them, did you? They were doing their own thing in their own time, in their own space. And was it really that naughty? And he's like, no, but that was wrong. It was wrong. So he's not great at staying in his own lane and focusing on himself. Um, so his nickname now is Popo, because he does love dobbing on people. So every artist has a different timeline and a different journey, and you need to focus on yours. So someone else's success does not remove your opportunity. There is space for multiple artists in this world. As I always say, there are enough walls for everyone, enough walls for every muralist, enough walls for every artwork. And sorry, ceramicists, I've left you out of this analogy, but there's enough plinths for us all. Clients choose based on personality, style, and connection, not just skill. So there are opportunities for everyone. Let me say, there is no single winner in art. There is not like one best artist in the world. That yes, you might have artists that win competitions, but there's not one artist that wins every single competition around. They're not the winner of art. We are all winners in our own lanes, running our own races. Number five, build evidence of your own progress. If you are anything like me, you will do a job and move on and not celebrate it. So my husband is the same as well. It's a tendency to just do a great job and then just move on to the next thing. So we have made a pact that we will celebrate each other's wins because we're not great at celebrating our own. You need to try to do better than us and and track your own wins, even if they're small. Keep testimonials. So if someone sends you a nice email, hold on to it. Save screenshots of kind messages and keep a progress journal. So you need to be your biggest cheerleader. No one else is going to do it for you unless you're my husband and you've made a pact with him and I need to be his cheerleader. He needs to be my cheerleader. Um, but evidence that you are doing really well reduces insecurity. 6, shift from competition to curiosity. So instead of saying, why them? Try, what can I learn from them? So observe how these artists, how they post, how often they post, what they communicate, how they present their work, what makes their offer clear. This shifts the energy from a threat to growth. So try to reduce the jealousy and bring in the curiosity. Number 7, celebrate others without dismissing yourself. You can feel inspired and still honor your own journey. So you can try congratulating the other artist genuinely. So I've noticed in the past when I've done this and I've been like, yeah, great job, that's awesome. The jealousy transforms from this horrible inside feeling to this wonderful cheerleader supporter feeling. And you're like, yeah, you did it. And you'll notice that the artist will be like, oh, thanks. And then you feel part of their journey. So when they continue to succeed, a small part of me is like, oh, I helped them. I was their cheerleader. Like, yes, we're team artists. Go artists. So it shifts that feeling. And you can't feel that negative and positive emotion at the same time. So if you can take that negative emotion and turn it into something positive, you're almost replacing that emotion with that positive one. Acknowledging the effort that the artist has put in. It's one thing to post this, whoa, look at this amazing thing that I did on Instagram, but acknowledging all the effort that they have put in is a whole other level. Reminding yourself that their success does not reduce yours. We can all have successes simultaneously too. On the same day, we could all have successes, and that's okay. It's not like one person can have success per day or only one person can win that competition, but another artist might be celebrating the success that they got shortlisted into that show. So we all have our own successes. Abundance thinking is a skill that oh, sorry, the cat just jumped up. Abundance thinking is a skill that you build over time, and it will really help the stronger you build that abundance muscle. So let's acknowledge the hard truth. Some jealousy comes from feeling tired. Sometimes you're feeling overwhelmed. Sometimes you're unsure about your own direction. Sometimes jealousy is a symptom of burnout or comparison fatigue. And that does not mean you're failing. It means you need clarity and sometimes a little bit of rest. So feeling jealous does not make you a bad artist. It means you care really deeply about your work and your career and your business. You can turn jealousy into motivation instead of feeling shameful about it. You are not behind. You are on your own journey in your own lane. You are building something meaningful for you that works for you. There is room for work, your voice, and your success, even if social media sometimes makes it feel really crowded at times. I hope that this has given you a couple little practical tips to help you not feel so jealous all the time. If you have any topics that you would like me to talk about, please reach out on social media and send me a DM at Scully Design, or you can send me an email. I'd love to chat. Anyways, until next fortnight, see ya.